Just another brother with another humble question. Just another brother with another humble question.
Welcome to A Brother with Questions. I am your host, B. Period. I appreciate you for joining me, man. Listen, man. This is going to be a reflection today about all the things I've been watching since the election. But before I get started, man, let me ask you to like and subscribe to the channel. Share. Let me know what you're thinking, man. Let me know what you think about these videos, man. I'm always curious to see what people have to say. So today, like I said, it's a reflection of a lot of the things that I've been seeing since the end of, or I should say, since the re-election of former President Donald Trump. A lot of the stuff that has come out, of course, you got your typical, right? We got the America is racist. America is misogynistic. We got white women don't know what's in their best interest. We just got a lot of individuals who, based on this election, have deemed this country to, I don't even know if they don't, I guess, it's like almost like they view the country as taking a step back, or perhaps, I guess, and to use some of the words of some of them, the country has shown its true colors. And I just find it extremely disappointing that simply because the American people decided that Vice President Harris wasn't their cup of tea this year, that somehow it has confirmed the quote-unquote worst of America. And one of the things that I caught that really, I think, displays what I would call the lack of awareness of people is this speech from the re-elected mayor of Baltimore. Young brother out of Baltimore. This is his second, I believe his second term as mayor. And so he gave a speech after the election. And let's just hear what he has to say. His name is Brandon Scott. Brandon Scott, what you got to say, brother?
I am obviously extremely disappointed in the results, but it is clear that there will be a second Trump presidency. It is really on my heart this morning to say that as a man, but more importantly as a black man, that this country does not deserve black women or black people, but specifically black women.
Okay. I just had to stop right there. So, because Vice President Harris wasn't elected president, this is now somehow I don't even know what to call it. Like, what is he saying? Somehow this speaks to what America deserves as it relates to black women? This from a woman who is confirmed Indian and maybe black, because she wasn't elected, she or the country doesn't deserve black women. You can already tell this message right here is about to go way to the left. Let's keep going, man.
This morning I woke up and I just gave my wife a hug because I know how heavy this is weighing on black women. And they have carried this country and saved this country too many times and continue to be the most disrespected human beings on the planet. And it, quite frankly, it disgusts me.
Okay. Oh, This is not, I don't even blame him, because this is a talking point that exists much longer than him. I don't know how old he is, but he appears to be a young man. And so this is a talking point. So the country is disrespecting black women. The country, black women have saved this country so many times. And now black women have just gotten a slap in the face, all because Vice President Harris wasn't elected. One of the things that, and I know I'll probably get in trouble for saying this, but whatever. We have to stop the notion, I think, that somehow black women are saving this country. And I'm going to say this in all sincerity. Can somebody tell me? And what I mean by this is I'm talking about what are the significant moves that black women have done that quantify the statement black women have saved this country? That's my question. What is the significant move that black women have made that quantify that they have saved America? Because I can think of some things that black women have done on a fundamental level in terms of, if you're talking about family, okay, they hold down families during the times of slavery, right? The black women, took care of the white children of their slave masters, and that sort of thing. And so I'm not taking that away. When you talk about family today, due to the quote unquote single parent lifestyle that a lot of people have, black women certainly take on the brunt of single parents. So if, I get that, but save the country, quantify it for me. And then let's have a conversation about that. But let's keep going.
I'm thinking about the world that we're going to bring our daughter into in a few months. And I want the vice president to know that her and her team did everything right in the right way. But the unfortunate reality is that this country is still steeped in racism, sexism, and misogyny. I am personally proud of her, and I know that so many others are the same.
There's that talking point. This country is steeped in racism and misogyny. This is the same country that a young man in Baltimore has been reelected mayor twice. Oh, but you don't understand. The black population in Baltimore is blah, 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 blah. Okay. And he's been reelected mayor twice. I'm sure that there was another candidate, perhaps even a black woman, that was running against him, and he won. So I'm just saying, like, the fact that America did not choose Vice President Harris is not an indication of racism or misogyny. It really isn't. It's really an indication on who did a better job of speaking to people. And as simple as that. Who did a better job of speaking to people? Who did a better job of resonating the issues that people wanted? Who did a better job of actually selling the thing that they said they would do to the point where people actually believed them? But can we stop having a conversation about racism and misogyny? Let's get this young man. And he's not the only one. But you have people who literally go on TV every day and call out white people for being racist. Seems like every other day on TV. Shame white people because of the actions of a few. And they still come back the next day to have these same conversations. Now, in a racist country that quote unquote hates black people, how is it that black people, minority people, can call out white racism, quote unquote, on a daily basis on national TV and still collect their 7-figure checks? If it was that racist, I would imagine those people would be off TV. So tell me, is it racism or is it just not connecting with people? Because truth be told, she still got almost 68 million votes. Donald Trump got 70-something million votes. So we're in the 3 million margin. So I'd imagine there's 3 million people. Quite frankly, we had less numbers in this election than we had the last election. So is it a matter of racism and misogyny? Was it a matter of two candidates who didn't connect with people at the same level that they did the last time? Or is it they heard the same story twice, 2 times in a presidential election, and this time they just weren't moved by it? Because can we be honest? And I think I'm done with this video. He has more, and I thought about it, but I can't do no more of this. But can we be honest about something real quick? This election is the same election we had in 2016. She went around the country, same as Joe Biden, and told us how bad of a person Donald Trump was. And now, right, he got quote unquote convicted of the fraud, not fraud, but the extortion cases, right? 34-time felon. And then of course they got him for the civil lawsuit. He lost a civil lawsuit about possibly causing rape 30 some years ago. And so now they added that on to this bad man. Why aren't we discussing the idea that you can't run the same tweet twice and still think it's going to be successful? I mean, can we do a football analogy real quick? How often do they run the same play twice and get the same result? How about we had that conversation? How about we have a conversation about the fact that the black candidate, right, the quote unquote black candidate, was struggling to get black votes? How about we had that conversation? How about it's the same playbook that she had when she ran in 2019? No, I'm sorry, in 2015 to become president. She struggled to get the black vote. You know how you know she struggled to get the black vote and how worried they were about the black vote? When is the last time you saw a presidential candidate do a HBCU tour and went to all the homecoming, or not all, but went to about 10 to 15 homecomings of HBCUs? Now, on one hand, I could argue that is pretty cool that she did that. On the other hand, I would argue that's pretty alarming that she did that. Because you know what they didn't do when Barack Obama was running for president? They didn't do no HBCU tour. You know why they didn't do an HBCU tour? Because they weren't worried about whether or not Barack Obama was going to get the black vote. You know what? Now, podcasts weren't huge at that time when Barack Obama ran for president. And so you wouldn't have saw podcasts. But you barely saw Barack Obama even do black radio. And then when he did black radio, he called them. He didn't show up. You know why he didn't show up? Because he wasn't worried about the black vote. So if a quote unquote black candidate is worried about the black vote, what you think the white vote gonna be? Can we have these conversations? She didn't even connect with black people, let alone the country. And miss me with, well, that's just because black men are misogynistic. Black men ain't that misogynistic. I'm a black man. I'm not that misogynistic. My problem with Vice President Harris was I still felt like I didn't know who she was. And you look at the things that she did as senator, not super impressive. So she didn't have a standing for that. As attorney general, as a district attorney, you're not creating policy there. So, and then on top of that, you're bringing the cases and you're handling cases that were brought to you. It's not like you go chase cases as a prosecutor. I would have been more interested in to know what she did when she wasn't a prosecutor. What were the community things that she did? I don't know. I don't know what they were. She didn't talk about them. So when you come back as a candidate, the only thing we really have in terms of policy is what she did as vice president. And there, truth be told, they're not her policies, they're President Biden's policies. That's my honest opinion. Now, from what they told me she was in on every major decision that they ever made. So, okay, I guess they her policies too then, right? So if they are, then I'm looking at what is most important. The border. The border has been a problem, and the border was a bigger problem or a huge problem. Let's not call it bigger. I'm going to just say it was a continued huge problem during their presidency. And the only time they did anything about it was at the end of their presidency when they knew that it would be what's the word I'm looking for? When there be an issue in terms of running again, a criticism, that's the word I should say. They knew it would be a criticism of their presidency, and so they came up with a bill, and unfortunately for them, they didn't pass it. And I don't want to hear, well, Donald Trump made all the Republicans vote against it. Okay, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. You know what it still doesn't, you know what it means, I should say? It means that you weren't able to pass the bill. But truth be told, in 2021, when y'all had office, and 2022, when y'all had office, if y'all really wanted an immigration bill, y'all probably could have got one through. That's right. It wasn't a priority then. When it comes to the economy, come on now. They can't win on that one. And I get it. I've listened to a lot of economists. Even my brother told me about this. The economy is in part not based on the current administration. It's based on the previous administration. True. And so, leading at the end of Trump and then even at the beginning of Biden, we did a whole lot of bills where we basically flooded cash into the system, right? Cool. Here's where y'all have to own that, though. Both of those efforts were led by Democratic House and Senate. So even if you want to blame Trump because it happened under his presidency, y'all supported all those policies. So even if I give him blame, I still got to blame you too, because y'all supported all of those policies for that time. Y'all were on board, lock and sink. So it's both of y'all. It's not him. It's both of y'all. Even if I look at the economy during the Trump presidency at the end, because at the beginning it was fine. It didn't hit rock bottom until the pandemic. What contributed to that? Obviously, the lockdowns contributed to that. That had a huge impact on jobs, huge impact on the economy, huge impact on businesses. I can blame him for that. But guess what? Truth be told, y'all supported those things. Y'all thought, matter of fact, at the time, y'all thought he didn't do enough in terms of shutdowns, in terms of isolation. Y'all thought he didn't do enough. Had y'all been in power, I believe y'all would have did more. And so what would have been the impact of doing even more than what was done? So why, again, I say, that's on both of y'all. Both of y'all got to take that out. Because I think hindsight has shown us that that wasn't a big, that we didn't need to do that in order to survive. So for me, those were my things that I looked at. Those are the things that I thought were most important. And in my opinion, they both got L's on that. Here's the difference, though. We have one guy who's consistently made that a priority as far as what his issues were. We had somebody else who actually used to be even lax on the border, quote unquote, under her leadership as vice president, if you will, changed all her opinions about it. And then now leading into the presidency, now she's gotten even harsher. Make it make sense. Lenient, line, harsher, consistent. That's what you're betting against. Consistent theme from Trump. Vice President Harris has gradually gotten to a point where she's harsher. And now I'm supposed to believe that all the things she thought before, that was just a mistake. When it came to the economy, we have someone who has made her whole life government. I'm just saying, I don't know what people who make their whole life government know about the economy. All I think they know is what they've been told as a part of the process of being in government. On the other hand, you got a guy who has, and I know he's going to catch some criticism for this, but built businesses, created amassed a fortune through business. Whether you want to call him the best businessman or the worst businessman, his business practices have amassed several $100 million. His business practices have amassed at least several $100 million worth of real estate. So we can criticize the process that he got there, but we can't criticize that he is there. And so when I'm betting on someone understanding how to create an economy, am I going to bet on the guy who has created an economy for himself that he certainly wants to maintain? Or am I going to bet on the person who's being told what the best moves are? And my last point that I want to talk about is the elephant in the room. He's a 34-time felon. And the fact that he lost the civil case because he might have raped somebody. You know why, in my opinion, those things didn't matter to people as much? Because I think most people are tired of these idea that you're going to litigate a 30-year-old case on some he said, she said. No evidence. No nothing but she said, he said. And it wasn't even a conviction in the law. It was money. And this, it was money. And so, honestly, I don't know what happened in that time. And I'm not here to say he's innocent or he's guilty. I think it's hard to tell 30 years later. And quite frankly, I think there's a question to be said when you can trying to assert something 30 years later. That is so hard to prove. So quite honestly, I don't know what happened in that case. I don't know. As far as the 34-time felon, he didn't kill nobody for that conviction. He didn't rape nobody for that conviction. He committed a white-collar crime. Matter of fact, he committed a crime that I've seen other politicians commit. The difference here, he purposely had his counts spread out to as far as they can go so that they could literally be able to say 34-time felon. Because they could have easily pushed all of this into one count. They needed to say multiple. They needed a headline, 34. And so, am I going to get upset because he has felon behind his name? No. That didn't bother me as much because I understood the crime. I understood the purpose of the conviction. It did exactly what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to create a headline. It wasn't serious. They didn't really care. Because if they cared, he wouldn't be the first one. If they cared. And so, miss me with that. So we back to policy. Because if we really cared as much as we say we do about things like that, can we be honest about something? How is Bill Clinton still running around here every election cycle, stumping for candidates, holding events in the black church with black people sitting at his every word? Because you know what we can't say about Bill Clinton? We don't know if he made that intern spill something on his dress. We know for sure everything that intern did. And you know we don't care about that intern. You know we don't care about that dress. Whoa, I know. He's got the right letter behind his name. So he good. And on that note, I'm B. Period. And I'm out.